The glory of Babylon has been restored by the reconquest of lands formerly lost to the Elamites, and by ejecting the foreign Kassite rulers from our territories. However, King Nebuchadnezzar I vows that taking back former Babylonian land is not enough. The Elamites must feel his wrath in their homeland. Nebuchadnezzar I has ordered you to attack Susa, the capital of the Elamites, just across the Karun River. In one of their previous raids, the Elamites carted off a golden statue of the most important god of the Babylonians, Marduk. Your task is to recapture it to strengthen Nebuchadnezzar's legitimacy back home. Peoples long oppressed by the Elamites will give you aid in your quest if you can locate them.
Alright, we are in Voices of Babylon, Mission 5, The Great Hunt. Our objective is to capture the artifact. The long road ahead is paved with many obstacles. It's sometimes better to race through a hotspot than to stand and fight. Gather as many allies along the way. Landing an army near Susa is a daunting task. Use the shallows around the city to land priests and catapults. You will have the chance to obtain a few priests along the way. So I think what we're going to do to start with is we're going to take these axemen and we're going to head south along the path towards the bottom of the map. We need to kill any lions and elephants that we see, because if we don't, they will just attack the axemen, and it's better to get jump on them. Once we get past the first group of killer animals, we should run into about 6 composite bowmen. We can add them to our army. Then we're going to use these composite bowmen to kill the first group of archers that comes up to attack us. We can continue moving south, and then we'll have a split path with 2 groups of archers on each side, and we will kill each group with the composite bowmen, preferably 1 group at a time. We're going to continue moving south, and we should run into a couple of scouts. And then just south of this, we're now going to run into more bowmen surrounded by some towers. We can use the scouts to bait out the bowmen to be killed by our composite bowmen. We should be outranging them when we do this. And then we have a couple of options here. We can attempt to run the scouts past this whole mass of towers. And while it's true that the scouts can get past, well, likely true, it's not as safe. But the more sure thing would actually be to take out the towers with the composite bowmen. This just happens to take a lot of time. So as we are taking out the towers with the composite bowmen, one by one, like I said, this will take a lot of time. Once enough of the towers are taken out, you can run the cavalry past them. To the north, you'll find basically 6 cavalry, not scout cavalry, but regular cavalry. Just to the north of that, you'll find a couple ballista. You can kill them with the cavalry. And then once the towers are finished off, you can move the archers and axemen past and begin heading north towards the pink Elamite base that you saw at the beginning of the mission. Before we get to that though, we're going to run into a couple of elephant archers, which we'll need to kill with our axemen and cavalry. We can continue heading north, and we're going to come across a whole mess of orange sentry towers to our east across the river. And we want to ignore that for the time being and continue up towards that pink objective. We can attack the first set of purple watchtowers with our composite bowmen. These should go down faster since these are actually watchtowers and not sentry towers. We're going to get to a second round of towers next, and these should have siege by them. You're going to need to move the cavalry up to attack the siege, and then you can begin bringing down the towers with your composite bowmen again. Once your cavalry have taken out the siege, there's a wall towards the back you can run towards, and from there you should be able to pick up 4 priests that will help you. You'll also get a transport ship. One thing you're going to see is that there's like a tiny island just to the east of these two towers with two stone throwers in them. You can convert the stone throwers with the priests, even from behind the wall. And then you can take the transport, put the stone throwers in them, and add them to your main army. Basically, once you've taken out all these towers, you want to head back towards the middle, where we had the pack of orange towers. And we can use the siege now to basically bring down all the towers, certainly faster than the composite bowmen. So after we've taken out the orange towers, we're going to kind of move forward here with the army. We're going to run into a lot of siege from orange. So we can try to convert what we can with the priests. If you can bait them out one at a time, that's great. I basically don't succeed in doing this. And then you also want to have your cavalry close by to snipe any extra siege you can't convert. It's pretty important to keep the priests alive, because they are fully upgraded priests. And you basically want to keep everything alive in terms of siege and priests. I don't do a good job of keeping the siege alive, as you can see, but I do keep the priests alive. If you do want to, and when you're getting towards the end of the siege, you can basically get real close with the priests, because the minimum range of the siege or the stone throwers won't allow them to attack them. Of course, if you use all four at once, the conversion does happen faster. Next, we're going to engage a bunch of green archers and priests. Our priests will outrange their priests, so we can try to convert as many of these as possible. Then we want to use the ballista that we've hopefully converted, and if not, the archers to kill anyone else you can't convert. We want to start heading towards the easternmost island, which is kind of loosely chain linked together through some shallows. You should see a pair of stone throwers here. We could try to convert them, but have your cavalry ready to face the gray cavalry that's hiding behind these stone throwers. We want to use the cavalry then to scout the easternmost islands across these shallows. You should be able to find 3 more priests. And then you can use your original 4 priests to convert 3 ballists on the easternmost portion of the map. There are a couple of towers in between where you find the 3 priests and the 3 ballista, but you can bring your siege over to knock down those towers. So just west of the island where we attacked that gray force, there is a stone thrower sitting on another island. We want to convert it. We can use that to kill a nearby ballista. We need to pick up our newly acquired units in the easternmost portion of the map with our transport. Also, we need to be scouting with our transport to see if we can find additional transports. We have to be really mindful of this though, because there's basically a ton of siege on all these little isolated islands that will kill the transports. So you have to constantly be moving them around. From here, we have to island hop our way to the northernmost portion of the map, loading and unloading siege from transport to transport. The only place we can land on this final island is at its westernmost side. An island before this can be used to pick off additional conversions inside the base. There's a lot of siege in there, and it's something you could attempt to do to kind of thin out their numbers, but once you've cleared a path, begin landing siege in as many units as you can. If you find your forces getting overwhelmed, use your cavalry to pass everyone towards the artifact. It's basically just you kind of run in as quickly as possible, and that's if things get desperate, and then that should secure you the victory.